Good evening, gamers, and welcome to the first ever game review on Games with Dave. This is episode 17, and tonight I'm going to be doing a very brief review of Ziggurat of the Blood God, which is written by Christopher Willett and published by Sharktopus Games. I'm going to be reviewing the beta version of Ziggurat, and also the DCC version. I took a lot out just so I don't spoil anything for judges and players alike that should really find out about all the cool stuff that's in here themselves when this product is actually released. So let's get into it. This is the cover art here. This was done by Simone, and I apologize, I cannot remember Simone's last name. Yeah, John, this is going to be awesome. And thanks for checking in. So the introduction here just says, you're no hero. You're a treasure hunter, a killer, a thief, a zealot, a power-hungry wizard. If you're looking for gold and glory, you have come to the right place. May the gods have mercy on your soul. So this is a 4th level Dungeon Crawl Classic adventure for a party of 4 or more. It's meant to be played over 2 4-hour sessions with a stopping point that's halfway through, and it brings your party face to face with a temple dedicated to an immortal god with glimmering treasure that they lord over. And basically the gist of it is that this new race of gods came to this world and enslaved the local population, who call themselves the Talaka, or the loyal servants, and they built the ziggurat in honor of the leader of the gods, Ichitakas, the king of the underworld, and to all these other gods. On the facing page, you'll see there are actually 6 hooks, and my favorite being this one here. There's a sacred mushroom cultivated by the Talaka people, said to cure any ailment. They had a sacred underground grove hidden beneath one of their pyramid temples. And they do, and the mushroom does indeed heal. So let's get up to that part. The next page here that I want to show you is the map and the adventure overview. I really dig that they're on facing pages so that you can reference the map and the area number, know where you're going to go, know where you're getting what you're getting the players into. Coming up next here is area 1.1, the temple entrance. I really dig this. If you go in with a torch, you're going to alert bats. And those bats are going to wake up 5 large humanoid bat hybrids called Kamazots. And what these Kamazots are going to try to do is throw the players out of the temple and back down the 100-foot staircase that they just climbed. Now, if you are thrown by one of these Kamazots, you can make a DC 15 reflex save to stop yourself from falling down the stairs. If you fail it, you take 1d6 damage and fall 10 feet down the stairs. You have to make another reflex saving throw if you have failed, and you take another 1d6 damage and fall another 10 feet down. You keep repeating this until you actually hit the ground or stop yourself from falling. And then for every 6 that you roll on your damage die, you're going to break a bone. And for every bone that you break, you permanently lose 1 strength or agility. So you could get pretty messed up right off the bat with this adventure. The next area is the fungus grove, which is where these mushrooms are hidden. The players are going to encounter an emaciated god, and he's going to start screaming at them in the Talaka language, which if anyone speaks, they can try to compromise with him, calm him down, or communicate. Otherwise, he's just going to get really ticked off and attack. And if the players get him down to about 25% of his hit points, he's going to boot out of there, and players can eat the mushrooms. The mushrooms they can harvest 1d7 servings of the mushrooms. Eating the mushrooms will heal 1d6 hit points, but it also serves up one of the following side effects. You roll a d7 on this table here, and you can get uncontrolled smiling and laughing for 1d3 minutes. a DC 13 Fortitude save, or you're dazed for 1d6 rounds. Make a DC Fortitude save, DC 13 Fortitude save, or you're blinded for 1d6 rounds. Or your skin becomes permanently ashen gray, which is my favorite. And there are 3 more: a DC 13 Fortitude save, or you suffer 1d3 temporary stamina damage. Roll a 6, you get a DC 15 Fortitude save, or suffer 1d3 permanent stamina damage. And if you roll a 7, you make a DC 15 Fortitude save, or you're sickened for 1d4 rounds, and you suffer a -1 to all of your rolls in those 1 through 4 rounds. Next up is an evil math cube called the Stasis Cube. I don't like math, so that's why I call it evil. With this Stasis Cube, there are multiple ways through addition, division, multiplication, or subtraction in which you can solve the puzzle. If you get a wrong answer, you roll on the Ichitakas disapproval table. And if you answer 16,440 with subtraction, you're going to get a rabid badger coming out at you. If this rabid badger comes out, he can bite one of the players and cause them to get rabies. There is the opportunity to they make a DC 15 Fortitude save or develop rabies. That's what I was getting at. And they also suffer 1d4 temporary stamina damage. And after 1d3 days, the target must make a DC 15 Fortitude save, and on a failure, they suffer 1d4 permanent intelligence damage and develop hydrophobia. They can no longer drink water and will die of dehydration within 1d3 days. And the badger can also be placed back into the Stasis Cube, and you could use it to trick somebody, I guess, and unleash the badger upon them. All right. Next up, actually Chris Willett's favorite thing in this, the brain parasites. You walk into this room to a bloated corpse lying on the ground. It's been there for weeks. It is also wearing armor and has a backpack. It seems the cause of death for this poor soul is the fact that its head is exploded, and the ground is covered in crunchy insect carapaces. So the basic gist of this room, and I agree with Chris, this is really badass. If the players bring any torches or light into this room, the walls and ceiling just come to life with these brain parasites. And what they do is they attack you, and they can get in your brain and make your head explode, which is pretty vicious. There are lots of ways to die in this. So after 1d3 hours of these brain parasites infecting you, you have to make a DC 17 will save or take 1d8 permanent intellect damage. Once you reach 0 intellect, a new brain parasite swarm will explode from their head and kill you. The next room I wanted to bring up is area 2.1. I can't jump back to the map that easy. But this is a really cool room. It's covered in copper pipes you hear liquid running through them. The pipes are warm but not hot to the touch. And there are glass vats of bubbling blood everywhere and a space to put one's hand inside of it. The vats are magical, and anyone can sacrifice 1 hit point, which is a single drop of blood, into the container. And doing so will remove any ill effects from Ichitakas disapproval, which we're going to get to. And you can actually gain Ichitakas disapproval back here on the stasis box from entering any number other than ones indicated here on this table. And we'll get to that in just a second. Another thing is a boon that you can transfer you into a vampire thrall, which I think is a super cool effect of this game, and especially the way that it's done. So the other boons are you'll gain +1 to all spell checks until the next day. Boon number 2 is, excuse me, for the next 24 hours, anytime the target deals 10 damage, they heal 1 hit point. 3 is the target gains long claws that deal 1d6 melee damage until the next day. So they basically become Wolverine. For the next 24 hours, the target casts all spells at a +1 caster level, which can be awesome. A 5, or if you roll a 5, the target gains a special ability they can use 1 time until the next day, which is you can heal 1d8 +1 hit points. Roll a 6, the target gains a +2 luck bonus and a bonus to 2 random statistics. +2 to attack rolls. Wait here, I'm messing this up. Oh, it looks like you roll another d7 on your luck. And if you get a 1, you get +2 to your attack rolls, +2 to damage on a 2. A 3 will get you a +2 to your saving throws. A 4 will get you a +2 to your spell checks. A 5 will add 2 to your AC. A 6 will give you 2 hit points. And a 7 will give you an extra 10 feet of speed. And the 7 will transfer you into a vampire thrall. So Ichitakas disapprovals, which you can get from the Stasis box, again is a D7. Chris loves D7s. He told me that in the interview I did with him, which you can check out on the channel. So you roll a D7, you get a 1. The target feels an overwhelming desire to spill their blood for Ichitaka. They must cut themselves, dealing 1d4 stamina damage to themselves, or take a -4 penalty to all checks until the next day. A result of a 2, the target must make a gift of gold to Ichitaka. They must offer 1d4 times 100 gold pieces worth of gold or gems to the god. The tribute will immediately evaporate. Otherwise, take a -4 penalty to all your checks until the next day. On a 3, the caster loses access to 1 randomly determined level 1 spell unless they make a blood sacrifice, dealing 1d4 stamina damage to themselves. On a 4, the target loses 1 point of each strength, agility, stamina, personality, and intelligence. They heal at a rate of 1 point per day, and this cannot be healed with magical means except for a blood sacrifice back in area 2.1 here, the Halls of the Blood God. And on a 5, the target suffers a -2 luck penalty and a penalty on 2 random statistics. They roll a d7, and a 1 will get you a -2 to attack rolls, 2 will get you -2 to damage, a 3 will get you a -2 to saving throws, a 4 will get you a -2 to spell checks, a 5 will get you a -2 to your AC, a 6 -2 to your hit points, and a 7 -10 feet of speed. And again, this cannot be healed with any magical means except for a blood sacrifice back in area 2.1. On a 6, the target is marked for death by Ichitaka. All monsters in this dungeon will focus their attacks on them. So basically, you're screwed unless you go back to area 2.1 and make a blood sacrifice. And 7, which is my favorite, the target becomes a vampire thrall. And as you can see on the next facing page, the way I have it set up is what happens when you become a vampire thrall. You roll on A for appearance, B for the special trait, and C for your vampire thrall weakness. And I really like this because it's not just, you become a vampire thrall, you can't go out in the sun, you can't do this. Instead, you roll on A with a D5, B with a D6, and on C for your weaknesses with a D7. I particularly think getting a 1 on appearance would be bad. All your hair falls out, your face becomes gaunt and skull-like. Then you get a 6 on the special trait. You get vampiric touch, your melee, and 1d6, 1d6 and drain 1d3 experience points when you hit with a melee attack, if I'm reading that right. And Mountain Biker here can tell me if I'm right on that one. And then on your weakness, I thought number 4 was kind of interesting, especially if you're in the jungle. You cannot receive healing, or period. You can't receive healing from a cleric. There are some other ones here that I thought were cool, like you cannot cross moving water. And I see up here for special traits, you get a fly speed of 20 feet, which is pretty cool. And count everything could be hilarious with the name of, yeah, it could be hilarious. I got to open this up a little bit more. Be hilarious. Yeah, you're absolutely right, John. So this is all I decided to reveal because there's a lot more to this. There's a lot of ways you can die. And I really didn't feel it was my job to reveal everything to people, where Chris and Haroon have worked so hard on this project. I want players to open this book and judges to open this book themselves and read it and say, what the hell is this? Because that is what you're going to do. This is a very gonzo adventure. It's an awesome adventure. And if you haven't backed it yet, folks, and you're watching this, you want to go down in the description, click on that Kickstarter link, and back it. I see we have a few people sitting in here watching this. So if you have any questions that I could potentially answer, go ahead and ask. And if not, I'm going to say thanks for joining us. Or thanks for joining me. I always say us. I don't know why, but thanks for joining me. Have a great night. Thanks for tuning in. And if you enjoyed me stumbling over my words, give the video a thumbs up and maybe subscribe to the channel. I've got a bunch more ZineQuest interviews coming up this month. I think I've still got like 14 more to go, with a lot of DCC folks and folks that are publishing other independent games. So yeah, doesn't look like anyone has any questions. So I'm going to say have a good night, and I'm signing off.